welcome to Books in the Freezer, a podcast dedicated to the deliciously disturbing world of horror fiction. I'm your host, Stephanie, and today I am joined by returning guest and chair of the Library Advisory Council, Jocelyn Codner, and author Kendare Blake to talk about the Summer Scares program this year. So, welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much for having us and me in a different capacity this time.
Yeah, and your like official HWA duties. So, welcome both of you. We've done this type of episode the last few years, and Kendara, last year your book was one of the picks. So, what is it like pivoting from being like a Summer Scares author to being like the Summer Scares spokesperson?
Actually, so far it's been even more fun because
Yeah.
now I get to go behind the scenes and be part of the selection process.
Mm.
I've never gotten to help choose books for like honors and awards before, so this has been very exciting.
I love hearing about that process. It just sounds so like secret and official, and it sounds like everyone comes in so passionate with like their like list of reasons for their books, and everyone's fighting for their picks.
I'm
It,
jealous.
yeah, it gets a little like I can tell, everybody tries to keep it very chill, but I can tell when someone's had a list and they've been pushing for it for several years, and so far it hasn't broken through. I was really excited myself to get just more titles to read in middle grade because
Yeah.
nobody
Yes.
asks me to look at middle grade books. I mean, I write young adult and sometimes I get asked to look at adult books as well, but nobody ever asked me to do anything for middle grade. And I had no idea what kind of middle grade horror was out there. So I was just like madly jotting down everything that was, and I read, I read as many as I could for the middle grade selections and dang,
Mm-hmm.
they're really good. Like
Yeah.
yeah, one of my favorites didn't even end up getting picked, but it was nice to just discover new books in that age category that I really enjoy.
I think it is very underrepresented, underrated. I'm trying to think of like the right word to use. I do think middle grade is overlooked, and I would say middle grade right now is having quite a moment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, especially in horror. I mean, I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys were this way, but when I was in like elementary school or that middle grade age, all I really wanted to read was those scary stories to tell in the dark
Yes.
books, right?
Yes.
The
They
weird,
could not keep them on the
scary,
shelves.
horrifyingly illustrated, like that just
Mm.
we used to fight over those, like who would get to the shelf
Yeah.
first. So, yeah, I think just, the more we can highlight middle grade horror stuff, the better. We
Mm-hmm.
can pull in way more young readers this way.
Absolutely. And you know what? That trend has continued and only strengthened. So I feel like I mentioned my mom a lot on this podcast, but my mom is a high school and middle school librarian. And actually, Kendara, your books are some of the ones that she has the hardest time tracking down because students check them out so ferociously and love them so much that they keep them. They don't want to return them. So like Anna
Oh,
Dressed in Blood is like a huge favorite in my mom's library. So these kids are still just gobbling up horror. She has a horror fiction book club in her library, and they love it. They love it, and it's just getting bigger and bigger.
oh, bless those little thieves.
Yes.
There was a TikTok I reposted recently, and I think Jocelyn, you saw it, but it was a school librarian talking about showing her kids book
Oh
trailers.
yeah.
And the
Mm-hmm.
essence of her TikTok was like, the children yearn for horror. I
They
showed
do.
them a book trailer for a horror book, and there was gasping. Like they were enthralled with this book. And then afterwards, like there was a significant increase in kids checking out horror books from the library. So the children, they yearn for the horrors.
they do, bless them.
So for the uninitiated, can you guys explain what the Summer Scares program is?
So Summer Scares has been around since 2019. It is an effort to um, give school librarians and public librarians a few more tools in their toolbox to be able to start conversations with their patrons about horror, about scary titles, just and not only in October when demand is always super high. Like they're trying to get it like scary stuff can be read and enjoyed year round. And here are a fun bunch of programs that you can do at your libraries to bring more people into the fold.
Yep. I couldn't have said it any better.
I do feel like summer is a good time to read horror.
I always look forward to summer horror. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's just something in the air in the summer. I don't know if it's the smell of bonfires or being outside more. Outside when it's dark, you hear all of the sounds of the critters. You want to tell scary stories. You have your window open at night and the breeze is coming in and rustling the curtains, like all of that. It's very atmospheric.
That's totally true. I mean, people are just outside more to be killed. So,
Yes.
Yeah. We all become like suddenly slasher fodder.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's hotter, people are more agitated.
A myriad of reasons. All right. Well, should we list the books that were picked this year? There is usually 3 books for each age group category. There's 3 adult books, 3 young adult books, and 3 middle grade books. So, Jocelyn, do you want to tell us what the adult picks are this year?
Sure. So our adult picks this year are Reprieve by James Hahn Mattson. An interesting thing too about the picks this year, the Summer Scares Selection Committee collaborated with iRead, which is another kind of summer reading initiative, to bring in their summer reading theme for this year, which is Level Up at Your Library, and it focuses on like play as learning and STEM activities and games and stuff like that. So the selection committee for Summer Scares had that idea, that theme of games in mind to
Okay.
kind of have that partnership with iRead. So some of these books do feature games. And that is a fun way. And Stephanie, you and I did an episode on game horror too, which was kind of fun, thinking about that in conjunction with this. So some of these books are in partnership with iRead. So Reprieve is one of them because Reprieve features an escape room.
Mhm.
And then we've got Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke and Other Misfortunes by Eric LaRocca, and The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling.
Ooh, I didn't know that it had like a little theme going on because I do see it because I also see, we'll talk about it later when we get to middle grade, but one of the books you picked for that episode.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we have a really lovely selection throughout the entire selected titles every year. We try to have,
Mhm.
and I mean, I'm not on the selection committee. I am not yet so lucky. I'm so jealous of those who are, but they always try to have a really nice broad selection because, as Kendara so wonderfully stated, this program is trying to bring people in and introduce them to horror. So that is always kept in mind. So we see that with the adult titles where we have Reprieve, which is a little quieter, a little bit more of character study. We have Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, which is brutal. Like that one is high horror, if you will. And then The Luminous Dead is kind of like a sci-fi adventure, internal sort of horror, psychological, and they all are different flavors. There's a little something for everybody here.
Ooh. I do love that. And I do love that they make a point to not do new releases that are hard to get a hold of. Like they do books that are like fairly recent but have come out in the last few years, which is nice.
Yeah, they want to make sure that you can easily get a hold of it in your
Makes
library
sense.
system.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Kintara, do you want to walk us through the young adult selections?
Sure. So this year in young adults, we have Devils Unto Dust by Emma Berquist, which is kind of a zombie flavored Western survival horror. Very, very just compulsive reading. And if anybody likes like 28 Days Later or The Walking Dead, I mean, this is right up your alley. We also have The Getaway by Lamar Giles, which is so twisted. It is, oh, it's hard to describe because it's like a survival horror almost set in a really posh Disney-esque theme park where families live there and work there and everything seems quite idyllic, while the outside world is described as being maybe less than idyllic. Something may have gone wrong out there, and then suddenly something very wrong happens out there and they're locked in the park, and then what do they do?
Ooh.
It's yeah, it's so much fun. And finally, in young adult, we have Find Him Where You Left Him Dead by Kristen Simmons. That one is the level up book. So that one has the gaming element. I like to describe it as Japanese inspired Jumanji
Ooh.
with like horrors from the Japanese underworld.
Oh,
Ooh.
so good.
That sounds so good, and then I saw that it's, like, part of a duology, and the sequel, I think, is coming out this year.
Oh,
Very
that's
soon.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very soon. She Waits for You in the Dark is
Yeah, that sounds right.
another good
Great
title.
titles. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of the Getaway right now, and I am really enjoying it, but let me tell you what caught my eye is, like, the Purge style mask
Yeah, on the
cover
cover,
is
yeah.
eye-catching.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and I the title and the cover, it speaks horror very loudly, but I wasn't sure I mean, I just bought it. I didn't even read the back when I saw it. I'm just like, "Yep, want that."
Yes.
And then I'm like, "Wait, this is in like a really pretty fun, happy theme park. What is happening?" And it takes, it took me a while, like, "Oh my god,
Sure nothing bad will happen.
this is why they need to call it The Getaway." I got it. I got it.
Okay, and for middle grade, we have Eerie Tales from the School of Screams by Graham Annable, Ravenous Things by Derrick Chow, and Hide and Seeker by Daka Hermon. And if listeners remember, we did the game horror episode. Hide and Seeker was one of your picks, Jocelyn. So you have
Yeah,
already given this like a stamp of approval. And I'm
that
assuming
is
that's a level up pick here.
yes, it is, yeah, obviously, it has to do with games, that is Hide and Seeker, speaking of middle grade horror being, booming right now, Hide and Seeker is one of my favorite books, period. I have read it
Huh?
multiple times. I really enjoy that one, and it is scary.
And it also kind of sounds like it's kind of like Find Him Where You Left Him Dead, where we're dealing with these like supernatural kind of almost underworld type
Mhm.
of stuff with
Yes.
really high stakes.
Yes, definitely, yeah, that it has that in common for sure.
I am very excited for this list. I have read all of the adult selections. Like I said, I'm in the middle of the Getaway, and I'm very excited to dig into all of these. This is like my reading list for the whole summer now. Like this is my
Yes.
reading is sorted. My TBR sorted.
Yeah.
Very excited for these.
And that's a wonderful thing that summer scares can do for
Yeah.
folks. It gives you a reading list. If you are interested in just diving into horror and trying to become acquainted and see what every age group has to offer, pick up a summer scares programming guide from one of the past however 5+ years that it's been going on, and you have a beautiful ready-made reading list for yourself for the summer.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can also turn it into, a family affair. If you have kids in different age groups and then, get a book for each of them and then one for yourself. And
Yes.
you can all just have like a fun family scary reading club.
Oh, it sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, that's so good. So I know a lot of librarians listen to the show. So how can people get involved?
Yes. So the Summer Scares Programming Guide is a document that is created to accompany Summer Scares every year. The visuals of it and the construction of it are put together by the Springfield Greene County Library District. And this year, the Horror Writers Association's Library Advisory Council, which is the group that I chair, actually developed all of the programming suggestions, the book club questions, the book talks, like all of the meat in the actual content of the guide, which was an incredibly fun activity for us as a bunch of librarians who are like volunteering. It was a blast. So basically, a library or a librarian, you can get your hands on this programming guide. You can get it. Becky Spratford's blog, RA for All, has tons of information about summer scares, including links to this year's programming guide and all of the past programming guides. And what we have done is we've taken every title, and each title gets its own page chock full of suggestions and all of that stuff that I mentioned, the reading group guides, the sample program suggestions, different read-alikes too. So it's not just the titles that have been selected for this year. You will also get a handful of read-alikes for every title. So this is just like a wealth of material for libraries to dig into. So this can help you lead programming for all different ages over the summer or any time of year. And it also is very helpful for collection development as well. If you're looking to kind of expand your horror offerings, this is a wonderful place to start. And we work, like I mentioned briefly before, we work in partnerships with a couple different organizations and groups. So Summer Scares as a whole is sponsored by Book Riot, Booklist, and Novelist, and I Read. And then we also work with I Read to have that deeper collaboration, pulling in their summer reading theme of Level Up at Your Library. And then we also do a similar partnership with the University of Pittsburgh Library Systems and the Horror Studies Collection to collaborate on different programming suggestions as well. So you'll notice, I think, Devils Unto Dust, which was one of the books that I developed the programming suggestions for, there is a programming suggestion that is in collaboration with the Horror Studies Collection at the University of Pittsburgh. So we have a lot of really fun collaborations going on, pulling in different ideas, different resources, and any librarian or library that's interested in developing some of these ideas out further can always email libraries@horror.org to get that kind of one-on-one help, maybe setting up. If you want to collaborate with the Horror Studies Collection, we can help make that connection. If you want to bring in a Summer Scares author for an author talk, which is something that is available through Summer Scares, we can help you set up that connection as well and organize that talk. So yeah, the programming guide is a wonderful document for libraries looking to introduce horror as more of a mainstay in their library offerings.
Oh, wow. I love that. Dara, were you on like a bunch of panels with libraries last year?
Yeah, I mean, we did the panels that we always do with Summer Scares. I'm going to be moderating the teen panel actually. I think in about a month, where we're just going to talk about all the teen Summer Scares titles. But I was also able to get out just locally and do some in-person stuff, which
That's
was
awesome.
always so much fun, because Zoom is great, but in person is different. Like if
Yeah.
you're a local library and you have one of these authors nearby, I mean, by all means, take this opportunity. This is a really good excuse to get them out into your area and just let people go hog wild asking questions
Yeah,
and with a lot of fun programming.
Hmm.
I love that. And are there ways for people who are not librarians to get involved?
Well, they can get involved with their library. Like we mentioned before, this
Yeah.
document is great for creating those reading lists for yourself or with your family or friends. But yeah, I mean, if you have a library that you frequent, or if you are trying to get into use your library more often, of course, I'm going to say everyone needs to get a library card. Everyone get a library card. Go to your library, see what they've got, go to events, go to their programs, say hi to your librarians. That's how you keep libraries alive and healthy. But if you are a horror lover and you want to see something like this, you can suggest it to your librarians. You can say, "Hey, have you heard of the Summer Scares reading program?" And maybe volunteer to help run some of those programs if you want to get involved a little deeper. You can do that. There are a lot of most libraries would love to have people volunteer to run community programming and help out with things like this. So that would be a way. If you're not a librarian, but you do enjoy the horror genre and you wish that your library had more of it, or you wanted to start a horror book club or something at your library, the Summer Scares reading program might be very helpful in you initiating that conversation with your librarians.
Yeah, just get into your local library. I think people who haven't been to their local library in a couple of years kind of don't know all the cool stuff that's been happening to local libraries.
Mm-hmm.
They've changed since we have been kids. Like it is
Yes.
a whole different ballgame. They have tons of resources that you would not imagine that they have. There are so many activities going on that you would have no idea. Um, and download the Libby app.
Yeah.
Get your
Yes.
library card, get yourself that Libby app because it is so handy. I don't
Mm-hmm.
read a ton on ebooks. I really do. I prefer the physical feel of books. But I mean, they have all those magazines just sitting there. So sometimes if
Yeah.
I'm in a waiting room, the Libby app is my savior because I'll just be like, okay, I just need a quick magazine to flip through right now because none of these ones on the table are doing it for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I can just get whatever I want. No waits, no holds, no checking
Mm-hmm.
out. It's just there. I mean, the library's gotten cool while we weren't looking.
It is so cool. I posted on Instagram, my local library did a puzzle swap, and it was like the event of this season. That
Yeah.
room was packed with people coming in with their puzzles to swap them out. There's an upcoming like craft swap, which I'm sure is
Mhm.
going to be
Oh,
nuts.
wild.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
People are gonna go feral.
Yeah. All right. Well, one of the traditions we have on this podcast is to ask our guests for a chilling obsession or something they've been enjoying in horror lately. It can be horror adjacent movie, show, book, podcast, whatever. So, what have you guys been enjoying lately?
I just saw The Monkey with my
Oh,
brother. My
yeah.
brother and I just went last night to see The Monkey, and it was a blast. I had so much fun with it. It was so silly. It's silly. There's a lot of comedy going on in that movie. It's very gory, but as someone who has more of a problem with gore the older I get, I did not have an issue with it. It was
Interesting.
fine. Yeah, the balance was really good. And it was romp. I just had a wonderful time. My brother and I were like cackling. Everyone in the audience was the theater was pretty packed, and everybody was laughing and enjoying themselves. So it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I really enjoyed The Monkey, and I think it's my favorite of the recent kind of chunk of horror movies that have been released recently, which have all been pretty good. But The Monkey, definitely into it.
I am very scared of that monkey.
You should
Even
be.
when, like, I think there was one edition of the Stephen King collection where it was on the cover, and I'm like, I'll wait for
Yes,
the next cover. I don't want that in my home. That
I
little
have
thing
it in
is
my
so
home.
creepy.
It's really
But
creepy.
having heard people talking about The Monkey the movie, it does sound so fun that I might have to give it a try.
Yep,
I don't
I
know.
I recommend
Oh,
it.
man.
All right.
I'm very excited for it. It feels like it's also very like Final Destination
It
y.
is.
Okay.
It is.
Let's see. Recently, well, I just watched The Substance.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah?
oh,
Since it's
yes.
making the rounds, Demi Moore is having like a real moment with it, and understandably so after watching
Yeah.
it. I totally
Mm-hmm.
get why they are honoring this performance. It's very
Yes.
brave. Um, the film, I mean, it's a lot of body horror, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
body horror
It
if you're
sure
into that.
is.
It's also like kind of really clever and smart, and it poses a lot of interesting questions. I think personally, it's worth watching just for the final shot. I won't
Yes.
spoil what that is, but when you see it, you will know.
Absolutely.
All right. Very excited for that. Not quite horror, but I recently started watching this new season of The White Lotus. And every season, have you never seen it?
I've not watched any White Lotus yet.
So each season, it's like a different cast of characters, different like White Lotus hotel location, and it opens up with a death of some kind. And then like it immediately goes to like 1 week earlier and we get introduced to like the cast of characters.
Mm.
And I will say I did not enjoy the first season because I didn't know what I was into, which is everyone sucks.
Okay.
Everyone is an unlikable, awful character.
Good to know.
Um, so going into this third season, now that I know, like, okay, I'm not supposed to like any of these people because they are truly awful. But I have just been so into it. The character work on it is insane. Like from the get-go, you get one interaction with these characters and you know exactly who they are, which I feel like is just so masterfully done with the writing. Like, okay, you're like, I know exactly who this person is. And honestly, if you want to tune in just for Parker Posey's southern accent,
Oh my
it's
god,
Oh,
it's the best.
yes. I've heard
It's such the
commentary.
best. Can I just mention one other thing about The White Lotus that I find very interesting?
yes, by all
I
means.
will keep it family friendly, but another thing The White Lotus does every single season is it opens up episode 1 with some sneaky male frontal nudity.
Oh, well,
Just like
well.
every episode 1, you're just like, "Whoa, there it is." And so I watched season 3, episode 1, and I'm like, "Is it gonna get me again? Is it gonna like, are they gonna get me? Is this really a White Lotus, tradition?" And so far, yes, 3 seasons now.
Wow.
Just get a
Okay.
little something.
Oh my
Very good to
gosh.
know. Very good to know.
Whew.
So I am into it. Looking forward to the new episode today. And then, like, I love reading everyone's like episode breakdowns. Like, I'm addicted
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
to like what is going on. So that is my chilling obsession. Uh, The second tradition we have on this podcast is to ask our guests for a final girl song. So if you were the final girl in a horror movie, what is your song?
I feel like I have to answer this question all the time because of how many times I've been on the show, but I do have a new one. So Stephanie and I were recently listening to Tori Amos's Little Earthquakes. We've been going through a bunch of albums and checking out all these albums by the top 150 best female artist albums, like list that NPR put together. And so we recently did Little Earthquakes, which is a big favorite of mine. And so I'm going to pick Precious Things by Tori
Okay.
Amos. I love that song so much. I think I said to you and Anna, Stephanie, that it makes me feel like I could rip a door off the hinges. Like it gives me like so much like energy and strength. So I feel like that that would qualify as a final girl song. I
Oh,
think.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could totally hear Tori singing
Right?
a final girl song.
Yeah,
It would
she's got
be,
a lot of rage.
yeah, she can really wail when she wants to. It's empowering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Um, if I had a final girl song, I feel like my horror movie would be comedic, and mine would be the theme song from like the 1987 National Aerobics Championship. I don't know if
This is fantastic.
either of you have watched Key and Peele, but they do an entire aerobics sketch set to that song, and I'm like, I love
Yeah.
this song. Like, this is my jam. So my husband has it as his ringtone actually now, so that every time his phone rings, I'm like, yeah. Uh, and I would be in a final girl showdown, and we would just aerobicize each other to death.
Oh, I love this. This
Yeah.
is
I
yeah.
need to see this movie.
Yeah. I'm in. I'm fully in. I love the vision.
I also love like a horror comedy, like
Mhm.
really, really committing to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I had to pick one, it would be from today's album. And it
Oh,
would
yeah.
be Cherry Bomb by the Runaways.
Yes.
This is,
Oh, we love the Runaways. Yes.
oh my gosh. And it's my 4-year-old daughter's. It's one of her favorite songs ever. That is like highly requested on drives.
She has great taste.
Very good taste.
Right. Well, thank you both for coming on the show and talking summer scares. Where can people find you online?
I'm on Instagram, and Facebook and Blue Sky and Threads. All my usernames are just me, Kendare Blake.
Now I'm on Instagram and Threads and Blue Sky the most, and my handle for all of them is Forgotten Corners.
Thank you guys so much. I will put plenty of links in the show notes for people to find the resources and, of course, all of the summer scares picks.
Yes. Yay.
Yay! Thank you so much for having us. Everybody go to your libraries.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Arthur was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's better with a library card. Amen.
Books in the Freezer is a bi-weekly podcast. We post episodes every other Tuesday. You can find us on Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok at Books in the Freezer, or send us an email at booksinthefreezer@gmail.com. Show notes for this episode and all previous episodes will be at booksinthefreezer.com, where you will find a list of books mentioned, as well as links to different ways you can support the podcast. I will talk about Patreon in a minute, but I wanted to say if you are going to StokerCon in Stamford, Connecticut this year, I will be there, so be sure to say hi. And if you're looking for ways to have even more books in the freezer in your life, might I suggest joining the Patreon community? There are 3 levels of support. If you decide to become a Malevolent Spirit supporter, you get access to bonus episodes. And that includes the new House at the End of Fear Street series, where on each episode, I and a guest will be making our way through R.L. Stein's iconic 90s YA horror series. They are bananas. It has been a ton of fun. And if you become a supporter, you will have access to all of those episodes. and even older episodes. I did a series reading The Stand. I've done episodes on different book and movie adaptations. So feel free to check that out. If you are looking for a free and easy way to show your support, please share about the podcast on social media or leave a review on a site like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thank you again so much to those of you who have taken the time to do that. It really means a lot, especially to indie creators and kind of one-person operations like this one. So thank you again. I have been your host, Stephanie Ganya. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time on Books in the Freezer.